everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Hope you are all having an amazing day today. My name is Lex and welcome to Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. This is a game that I've been waiting for months to come out. They've been teasing this thing for a long time. Loads of really cool features are in this game that I've been very excited about and checking out on the channel. And you might be thinking, well, if I was so excited, why didn't I do a video of it on release day? This game actually came out last Friday. Well, if you look in the bottom right, you can already see a massive, huge load of fixes. Bug fixes, things that have gone wrong, loads of... It was basically day one was terrible. I mean, this game had been worked on for ages. You would have thought they would have had some beta testers. But as it turned out, we all bought the game on day one. Actually, disclaimer, I was given the game for free by the publishers. I should always mention that. But loads of people bought the game and they jumped in and realized that it was incredibly buggy. And I found the exact same problem. I came in and when you actually first get this game and you start your first ever game, you are shown like the full garage in all its glory and all, like it's been like spec'd up and you can check it all out and it will show you how each of the things work, and then you can go ahead and start the game yourself and work your way up. That was incredibly laggy, didn't feel very well optimized, and then there was loads of menus that were like still in Polish as well. They weren't even there wasn't even like English versions of the menu text, so people who don't understand Polish would have no idea what was going on. And, I mean, like, the bugs ranged from that, you know, just, like, simple translations that weren't finished, through to, actually, I found a game-breaking dupe bug that allowed me to dupe wheels indefinitely and allowed me to make thousands upon thousands of dollars selling loads of extra wheels that it kept spawning in. Basically, all this stuff seems to have been fixed now, but I didn't really want to do a video because it was just so buggy. And it was a bit annoying. Actually, I had a game-breaking bug that wouldn't even allow me to get any further. And as you may notice, right at the bottom there, it says missions loop fix. I'd have to restart the game with a new game. So sadly, all the effort that I made over the weekend playing this game has all gone to nothing because I'm going to have to click new game again. And so here we are in our new game, in our first initial garage that we get given. And can I just say, straight off the bat, that this garage is 1,000,000 times better than the one in the previous game. The thing that really bugged me about the garage in the previous game was it was just so clean, pristine, clear, and just not what a garage is supposed to look like. This thing has got remnants of oil all over the floor. I mean, it's got stuff like, I don't even know what the hell this is, but it's all sort of embedded in the floor, bits of dirt. I mean, what we've got over here, like tin cans and stuff, squash bottles. I mean, this looks so dirty, and I mean, it's still got some organization. There's still definitely like some good mechanics that work here. I mean, they've got all this stuff on the wall, their tools, but generally garages aren't all like where you could eat your dinner off the floor. They are dirty places where cars are worked on, and there's full of oil and fuel and tire marks and, you know, dirt, rusty bits of metal, you know, all this sort of thing makes it a proper garage. So it's really nice to see that they've made a huge improvement over the previous garage. Also, you may notice that the graphics actually do seem a little better. The textures are just a lot clearer, a lot more high res. Everything just looks really nice in HD. It was alright before, but this definitely looks a lot better. Although one thing I should note, and you probably be able to see it, in fact, if you actually look at those lights in the distance, you could probably see it really clearly, but the anti-aliasing in this game is actually non-existent. I don't know whether this is always going to be the case or whether they're going to have an update with some better graphics technology, but the anti-aliasing in this game is not that great. I mean, there isn't actually any in-depth graphic settings for this. You can't, in fact, in-game at all, on settings, there's nothing. There's exit to menu, save game, load game. That's it. That is your only options. You have to actually go back out to the main menu and go to graphics, but then on the video settings, all you can do is set it to low, medium, high, or ultra, and set the res V-Sync, and I think that's about it. So, although one of the selling points of this game is the better graphics, without anti-aliasing, it just bugs me out. I mean, just look at this door. Can you see like all that banding and stuff going on? I really wish we didn't have that with this game, because it doesn't look that great. Aside from that, other settings, talking about audio, again, when I first started this game, it played this god-awful, crappy dubsteps-ish style music, whatever the hell it is. And again, in the settings menu, I couldn't turn it off, so I had to go all the way out to the menu to turn that down. Again, annoying. Let's actually just go around and just start showing you all the cool new stuff that is in this game. First of all, I should probably mention this thing, because in the previous game, like when we worked on a car, what you would do is you normally like press a number on the keyboard and it would change the mode, so you could change it between like pulling a part off, adding a part on, all that sort of stuff was done with the keyboard. Now it's all done with this. This is using the right mouse button, and it brings this up, and you sort of like look to the thing that you want to, point to the thing that you want to, and then select it. I think the reason for this is because they've made this game also for console. This is also going to be out for PS4, Xbox One, and I guess what they've done is they've made it fit the console thing. But again, for PC, this is quite awkward. If you played the previous version of this game, like I did, and you were used to the controls, especially on the previous game, I used to pull parts off and take them, and all that sort of stuff I used to do with the right mouse button. Now, what that means is every time I start working on a car and I go to pull a part off, I end up bringing this thing up, and I've probably opened this, like 50% of my game time on this game so far has probably been me accidentally opening up this damn menu. So if you're used to the previous controls, it might take a little bit of time for you to get used to this thing, but yeah, it's a little bit fumbly, I've got to admit. But after time, you start to get used to it, but I really would have preferred it if we had had the option to have like a full PC control one, where we can change modes and everything by the keyboard. The only button that I've actually been, apart from WAs and D to look around, move around, I for inventory seems to be about the only key press that I can find for this game. Everything else is now working off this menu. So for the new features of stuff that goes on, first of all, I just want to show you the parking, because before what you basically had was you go to a door, it had a list, and then you can actually go for your parking and just look through, but you couldn't really walk around it. Now you can actually go and walk around all your car parking areas. Let's just go and have a look. And also, I'm actually going to talk over this just to show you the full, like, unedited loading screen. Because one of the things that we had with the previous game was the loading times. I do believe that it is a little bit quicker than before. That one isn't too bad. In the previous game, the loading was actually dire. And after a while, I just grew sick of it. It does feel like they have improved a bit, so there you go, that was the full loading screen. So, oh, actually, this is a little bit laggy. There's a little bit of lack of optimization here, just to sort of give you an idea of my computer specs. I've got an i7-4770K, I've got a GTX 1070, and I've got 16 GB of RAM, which should definitely play this sort of game. But in some of these things, oh god, there's some really horrible sort of jaggedness going on with all these lights and everything that, we can't turn the bloom off. We can't turn the sort of lens flare off. All that sort of stuff, which does lead to that. But we can walk around the car parking thing, which is pretty nice. And presumably it's expandable, and over time we can actually walk up there and check out all of our parked cars. Let's just go and return to garage. Again, there is the loading screen. On the way back, it seems to be a little bit quicker, although it's slowed down. No, wait, it's probably going to be about the same amount of time. But I have noticed that once it's loaded once, when you go back to that thing again, loading is quicker. So, you know, maybe it's just like the first times that we're loading that it's a little bit slow. So, into the garage, what has changed? Well, on the toolbox, we have a lot more things that we can do as far as, like, all these extra things, like where you get XP and you get levels. There's loads of things like strong arms, 100% faster part installing and removing. This one is a different, like, garage expansion. This one adds path test, repair table. We've got things to instantly examine 3 parts when first time seeing a car. This is for, like, junkyards and auctions and all that sort of stuff. So this definitely feels a little bit more detailed than it was before. We also have this, the wheel balancer. This is a new addition to the garage. Basically, every time you change a wheel, you would go and set the balance on it. We have the tyre changer, which allows you to take tyres off of wheels and then put the tyres back onto wheels, onto the alloy wheel part. This was the thing that caused the dupe bug. Every time I took a tyre off, it gave me another 2 sets of wheels. This is how I was able to duplicate wheels, but that has been fixed. If we go around here, what else do we have? There's a bunch of stuff that I don't have in this one because this is like the initial garage. What do we got here? This is a spring puller. I haven't actually had the luxury of using this yet, but this is how you would presumably take the springs off of the coils on a springed coiled thing. Coiled spring. I was about to say coilovers, but I don't think that really describes the standard set of suspension. But basically, it allows you to pull the springs off. We go around here. This would presumably be some sort of like table that you can fix stuff on. But again, this is the base garage. We don't really have it. We have our lift, as always. Around here we have the oil drain. Then we have another toolbox here. We have the engine crane. And this allows us to actually pull engines out and work on engines outside of the car, which I haven't used yet. I'm very excited to see how that all works. Definitely probably won't be checking that out in this video. And then we have our computer as well over here. There are some extra parts, like you can now change the interiors. And you can also fix the interiors. There's also like the welding kit that you would have found in the previous game. That basically works in the same way that the interior fixing works. Onto the parts, how they've changed. Again, when it comes to interiors, you can now actually buy different types of interiors. You can change the colors of the interiors and stuff. So all of that you can actually take out and replace now, which is pretty cool. Also in this game, we have the license plate shop, which allows us to buy different license plates and also give us some customization for our plates. We can, you know, have our own custom plates. New Jersey, New York and stuff there. First in Flight, North Carolina. They're definitely remakes. They're not supposed to look like the originals, but you can then go... I don't really have the money because it's really expensive and I don't really want to waste money. But again, you can put some stuff in. Sadly, there's no preview, but you can have your own custom plates and stuff, which is pretty cool. Onto the wheels. Not just buying wheels this time. Now when you select a wheel, you can select the size and also the offset, which is pretty interesting. For some reason, I've noticed a lot of cars have an offset of 0, which is definitely not true. I know in real life that is quite uncommon, if unheard of, for most cars to have like an ET of 0 as your standard offset on a car. But anyway, we also have the tyre shop, which again, not just like selecting tyres, you can buy the tyres and buy the wheels and you have to put them on, again with that little thing over there. And then you can buy a wheel and you select the size, the diameter, the width and the profile as well. So you have to get that all right when you replace tyres on cars, which is pretty cool. It's just a nice little bit more in depth on the part system. Moving on to stuff that you're probably more used to. I mean, we've got stuff like the body shop, but you might also notice like windows and stuff. That is a whole new thing. Wing mirrors, again, that is another part that you can replace now that we weren't able to do before. This one's got like rear bumper, trunk, fender. I mean, some of that is as it was before. You can also now buy multiple amounts of the same thing, so you don't have to keep clicking them. You can buy stuff in bulk, which is a lot easier, and also tells you the total price together, which again, really helps. There is now a shopping list system as well. On the right here, you can see there's a shopping list. You can actually, like, before, I would have to keep reverting back to what was in my inventory and having to, you know, it was really a pain. Now you can set all the parts that you need to buy in your shopping list, then go here, and then you can just, like, keep that up, and then go to the main shop, and then you can search for something. You need, you know, air filter, whatever, and you can just work by your shopping list, which is a huge improvement, again, on the previous game. And actually, now that we've got this far, I probably should pick us up an order. So on the orders, we have the original ones, which just gave us random parts and, you know, gave us a random thing to do. But there's also the blue ones, which is part of a storyline. So this one says, 1.5 years ago, I bought my son this car. He said that he's not interested in anything except filling it up at the gas station. Please check the oil and the tires. So it's giving you like a thing to do, like a description. So let's just take that order. And here it is, our first car for our first job in our garage. This is actually a Golf remake, I presume. So let's just go ahead and... Now, normally I would press the M key. This is where I'm going to find that I'm going to press keys that don't do anything anymore. But normally I'd press M and then move it. Now we've got to right click. And as you can see, actually, depending on where you are, depending on what you see on the menu. So here we have these 6 things over here. But as we go over here, you can see that things change. And there's like move car, assemble mode, interior, disassemble, overview, parts notes. This is where you can add all the parts and stuff to your shopping list. Car status, again. This is going to tell us what we need to do. Drain oil, faulty parts we need to change, all that sort of stuff. So let's just go back, and I want to move this car to car lifter A. There we go. Now on the lifter, so I'm going to lift this up just a little bit. So pressing that once, normally like it used to do this bit automatically for you. Now you can actually have it all the way on the ground, and you have to lift that first bit yourself, and you press it again, and it will go all the way up in the air. In fact, actually, let's do that first. We'll drain the car of oil first. So now that we've got that up, let's just go to our oil drain, move equipment to car lifter A. There we go. Now, in the previous version, what you'd have to do is you would go to your oil pan and you would pull the plug out. But you might notice that I can't select the oil pan plug. For some reason, you have to take the pan off first and then put it back on, then the plug will show. Again, this is probably another bug that just hasn't been fixed yet. But you don't actually have to do that anymore. Now that this is here, all you have to do is select the oil drain and go to use equipment, and it will just drain it for you. And that was that was all the oil in the car. That was it. So we can now move that back over to there again. Where is it? It was there. There we go. So now this is devoid of all oil. So we can go back down, lift the bonnet up, and we should now be able to do our nice, simple oil replacement. There we go. Just put some more oil in. Now in this game, if you just hold it down, it does automatically like move the thing back once it's sort of full or to the right area. There you go. It does that automatically, so you know when you got to the right spot. And now we should be able to go to our car status, and there we go. Look, we have now changed the oil. So what else did we have to do? We have to change the air filter, change 4 tires, and the fuel filter. So let's go ahead and start taking this stuff off. Automatically, when you get in, it's already in like the part removal setting. I'll show you how to put all this back on in just a second. So let's go and take all these clips off. The oil filter cover. Of the air filter cover, rather. Then take that off, and there we go. We've got a horrible, dirty air filter. There we go. Now let's just go. In fact, where was the fuel filter? Where is it? Ah, there we go. Fuel filter. Let's take that out as well. So let's just try and see if we can get this shopping list thing to work here. Now that I've taken the parts off, I realized the error of my ways. What you're supposed to do, and of course I'm actually learning this on the fly because I'd never tried this before, but the parts notes works on the base of you look at the part that you want to replace, and then it will add it to the list. So because I was looking at the air filter base right there, we go to there, and as you can see, it says air filter base, but I want to get rid of that anyway. So actually, we'll use that for the tires in a minute, just so we can get that all working. So let's just go to computer, and let's just go to the main shop, and then we have a basic air filter, first thing. Buy that, and then let's just go to fuel filter, and then buy one of those. There we go, nice and simple. So to place everything back in, we have to right-click, go to part mount mode, and then we can place everything back in. There we go. So there you can choose between the old one and the new one. So you pick the one that's right. You click that and it pops it in. There we go on the cover. We have to click this main one. See, like you select it from the bottom and then this one confirms that that's the right part. And then there you go. Puts that in. And then we can put all of our clips back on like that. Now the reason for this to be slightly different is because you can now combine parts. And I'll show you sort of what that combined parts thing looks like in just a moment. But like when you take the brake calipers off, for example, you actually have to like buy separate parts of the caliper and you put them together in this select part section. But then that's that bit all put back on. And there we go, put the fuel filter back on as well, like that. So onto the wheels. Let me just test this right now. If we go to parts notes, what's this going to give us as a part information? Oh, just rim. Standard tire B, parts notes. Yeah, it just tells you standard tire B. It doesn't actually tell you the tire size. So let's just go ahead and take this off. Right, there we go. That's all of that taken off. And now we can go over here to our separator, tire changer, separate parts. We can now select, now you can see like this is a part that has been combined of 2 separate parts. So we'll select this. Do you want to separate? Yes. And it's going to go ahead and separate the tire from the wheel. There we go. And then once it's done, you click on it again and then you go to take. And there you go. It's now taking it. So now it should be in the inventory. There you go. Standard tire B, 205 55R16. Now, as far as I know, this parts notes thing, if we try to add a part, I mean, like, you can't add that tire to the list. So these separated parts do have the issue of not being on the parts notes thing. Maybe they'll fix that later, because that is a bit of a thing, you know, a bit annoying. But I'm sure we can remember 205... Crap, I forgot. 205 55. Right, let's just buy ourselves some standard tires, and we need to buy 4 of them. So let's just go back out of here, go to the tire shop, go to standard tire B. We want 16s, we want 205s, and we want 55 right there. And then we want 4 of them. There we go, $1,160. So now that we have that separated wheel, we can now go back to the tire changer. I can go to install. I can select the original wheel, and then I can select one of the new gleaming, shiny, lovely, full treaded tires. Click that tire, and then click yes, and it will start adding the tire back on to the wheel for us. And actually, whilst it's doing that, let's go ahead and pull these other wheels off. There we go. And actually, just then, you saw that I opened up that menu. That was me trying to take the wheel off. I'm going to do this so many times as I have done already. There we go. There's that tire off. Or that wheel off, rather. Then there's this wheel. And also, you might notice that that cursor, as soon as I go over and start pulling something off, you'll notice it disappears. It only does that on bolt pulling. I guess it's just to make it look a bit more cinematic or whatever, but it can be a bit confusing when your thing disappears when you're trying to take something apart. There you go. There's everything off there. And actually, I'm just going to take this brake caliper off so I can show you exactly what I mean about putting parts back together again. So let's just take that off, and now let's just go to part mount. And when we go to brake caliper, you will see that we can select the brake caliper and then the brake caliper cylinder. So those two things are separate. You have to click that and then click this, and then you can install those together like that and bolt it back on. So it's slightly more in-depth than it was before. Right, so that one has done, so we can go ahead and pull that off. And if we'd actually just go to our inventory, you can see that we now have this little symbol, and that means that this needs to be balanced. We can go ahead, go to balance, select the wheel that needs balancing. There you go. Yes, I want to balance that, and it's now going to go ahead and balance it for us. It's just going to run through this a few times. Let's go ahead and separate all of these. It's going to take a long time to do all of this. It definitely makes some of these things a bit more time consuming, because I mean, like a wheel tire change would have been very simple before, but this is more real. I mean, if you want, this is the sort of game that you're playing this because you want a bit of realism, you want a bit of in-depthness, so this is great by me, even if it does mean it is a little bit more tedious. So there we go, we pulled that one off the wheel balancer, take that, and now that is ready to go back on the car. So we can go ahead, go here, go to part mount, go to this, and then we should have our nice new high conditioned one with the balancing that we can put on. And again, just got to keep doing this. Let's go to keep separating parts. In fact, actually, whilst we're doing that, let's just go to install part first and install that, because then whilst we're taking all the other parts off, we can get this one wheel balanced. There's definitely going to be a lot more sort of like multitasking as well, which I quite like the idea of. So we can take that, put that one on there, and let's go and balance that wheel. Yeah, there we go. Then we go to separate parts. Separate them. I do wonder if in the later, bigger things, if we do actually have multiples of these, so we can do this a lot faster. Again, at the moment, we only have one of each, so it does take a little bit of time. Go separate these as well. Then there's that one all off. Now we can take that one off. That one's all done. We can go ahead and, actually, we don't want to separate that. We want to add parts back on. There we go. I think we've actually, we haven't got any more to balance for a second, because that one's actually already balanced. Let's go and put that on the car. Oh god, there's so much multitasking. There we go, put on our nice new wheels. And now that's done. That should be done. So we can put a new, I keep going to separate. Oh, no. I want to go to install. I'm rushing and I just keep going to the wrong one. Let's go to balance that set. There we go. And there's that set done. I think that's all of them. Yep, that is it. So we can actually just go to inventory, and let's just get rid of that old air filter. So $0, $1. I'm really going to get much for this. Oh, $42. We can make some of our money back. Tiny amount, but I mean, we still get paid for doing the job anyway. There we go. We can take that off. And do we have one more to balance? Yep, we do. Let's just go ahead and balance that. Put the other one on in the meantime. Let's go to part mount mode. Bung that on. There we go. Select that. I also noticed that this sound definitely sounds different from before. This sounds a little bit more realistic as well, which is pretty cool. And now just to wait for this. And there we go. That one's all off. Take that off, and that will be the final wheel. And that should be this one actually done, once we've done this. And now, let's just pop that down. In fact, let's just move this off as well. I'm going to make this all realistic. Let's just move this car back to the entrance of Garage A. There we go. There it is, all nice, completed. Let's just go to car status. There we go. Tick, 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 tick. And we've got a payout of $2,100. Finish order. And there we go. We actually made $1,063 from that whole thing, including selling all the stuff off. And that is the first ever job completed. So there we go. That's going to be the first video of Car Mechanic Simulator. There is so much more to check out. There is a whole new, completely changed auction system. Again, there is the whole scrap yard car thing where we can go and scavenge for parts. There's also a lot more cars. Let's go to the car showroom here for a second. As you can see, there are a lot more cars from before, and also a lot of stuff that was previously in DLCs now seems to be in the game. As far as I can tell, this is all stuff that is in the game, although I do notice a couple of Mazdas here that I know definitely 100% are from a DLC, which is a bit silly that there's a DLC on day one, but whatever. But it definitely seems to be more cars to work on and all that sort of stuff. But there we go. There's going to be multiple videos of this. There's so much more to check out. But once I unlock all these cool new features, I'll be checking them out in videos. But that's going to be it for this one. I'd love you guys to let me know what you think of this. Have you bought the game? Did you find bugs? What did you think of it? Personally, the bugs really, they upset me to start off with, because I was expecting it to be a little bit more polished. There's still some things that need to be improved on in this game. But for the most part, with all the new features and everything else, I do think it's good. I like where they are going with this series, even if there are some things that I personally would rather that they change, especially when it comes down to like the control system. You know, maybe just allow me to use a few more keys on my keyboard would be nice, just to make it a little bit more quicker for me, especially given that I've already become used to that system with the previous game. But that's going to be it for this video. Let's just pick up a random... This is the Chieftain Bandit. Oh, that is the car from Smoking the Bandit. That is a Pontiac Trans Am. By the way, if you like cars and you've never seen Cannonball Run, I would say Cannonball Run 2, probably just because, you know, whatever. But Smoking the Bandit 1 and 2 are amazing films. If you've never seen the Smoking the Bandit films, just go and watch them. They are quite old. They're from like the 70s. I think the second one was possibly early 80s. But if you're a car lover, you would absolutely love those films. They are just cult classics, in my opinion. But there we go, guys. That is going to be it for this video. In fact, actually, I just want to quickly see. Hang on, it's going to change colour. We do have liveries in this one. Do we have a bandit livery? No, that's definitely not one. Let's get a number 2. I want one that's got the phoenix on the thing. Ah, there we go. That's got the phoenix on it. There we go. What about livery 3? How did that one look? No, we want livery 2, and we want it black. There we go. That's the stuff. That right there. That's the Bandit car. Well, there we go, guys. Let me know what you think about this game in the comment section below. If there's anything you would like to know about the game, of course, you can ask me. I'll probably be answering these questions in following up videos of checking out all the amazing new stuff that is in this game. But yeah, that's going to be it. If you want to buy this game, I would still recommend it. Even from day one, even with the faults, I knew they were going to be fixed. I'd still recommend the game. I still think it's amazing. Loads of new things to do. I'm very excited to see what sort of cool stuff is going to be coming up in the future of this game. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.